Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's Indigo China here, and today I'm going to be talking about how to tell if you're in a toxic relationship. Now, before I get started, please excuse my throat. I'm recovering from the flu and I'm still a bit nasally, still a bit bleh, so I might have to clear my throat a few times and make those sounds, you know. But without further ado, this is how to tell if you're in a toxic relationship. First, I want to talk about what a toxic relationship is. Now, a toxic relationship, in my definition, is a relationship where two people just don't support each other. You or the other person undermines the other, and you have no respect for each other. You do not communicate in a way which is understanding, honest, or beneficial for the relationship's growth. A toxic relationship is any relationship. It doesn't just have to be romantic. It could be your mum, your brother, your dad, your sister, your auntie, your grandparents, your friend, your lover, your ex, your this, your that. Toxic relationships even happen between pet owners and their pets, so it really doesn't matter what relationship we're talking about here. But if you've clicked on this video, you're very likely to be wanting to know if you're in a toxic romantic relationship, so that will be my main kind of focus in this video. But a toxic relationship can be any kind of relationship. It doesn't just include romantic relationships. The last thing that I think defines a toxic relationship is that it is very unpleasant. And the bad always outweighs the good. The negative always outweighs the positive. And it's draining. You literally feel a draining on your soul and your energy when you're around that person, when you're with that person, when you're talking to that person. If that person just walks into the room, then you know that there's something between that connection that is just toxic and it's draining on you. And sometimes it can actually be quite subtle, so you won't realise that it's that person that's having that effect on you, because not everyone is blatant or direct in the way they act. Some people are very covert, they call it, and very subtle with the things they do. So this video should help you if you're wondering if you're in a toxic relationship. I think in my next video I'll do a video on how to tell if you're in a relationship with a toxic person, but on this video I just want to focus on how to tell if your relationship is toxic. So now that I've talked about what a toxic relationship is, I want to talk about what makes a toxic relationship. The key thing that makes a toxic relationship toxic is two people, whether it's one of you or both of you, who consistently undermine each other, whether it's subconsciously or consciously, whether they're aware of it or they're not aware of it. And there's usually a reason for this kind of behavior. It could be something that stems back from childhood, or they had an experience as an adult or an experience as a child, or somewhere along their life where they were the victim of someone being toxic towards them. It could have been a parent or other caregiver, could have been a brother or sister, so they've carried that with them and now they're just transferring it onto you. Or the person could simply have a mental disorder or a condition that needs to be managed. And again, as I mentioned, it doesn't have to be that they're aware of it. They could be very well unaware of what they're doing or the way they're acting and how it's affecting you and the relationship. The most serious warning signs of a toxic relationship include violence, aggressive behavior, and harassment. But like I mentioned, a lot of the signs can be very subtle, and they may be there, but you may just not realize them, or you may attribute it to something else. You may just think you're tired, you're working hard, you're stressed out. But little do you know, it could be the person right beside you that's the one who's causing all of this. The subtle signs of a toxic relationship include a persistent low mood and unhappiness, negative shifts in your mental health, your personality and your self-esteem, and overall feeling like you can't talk to your significant other or the person that you feel you're in a toxic relationship with. The last thing that I want to talk about is what to do when you're in this situation. If you believe that you're in a toxic relationship, if you feel that you're in physical danger or the person is going to harm you, then you must report it to the police or the authorities. If the harm is emotional and mental, then you really, really want to distance yourself from that person if you can. And if you can't, then try and find someone to talk to. Maybe it could be a parent, unless they're the one that is toxic, a teacher, colleague, a friend, best friend, sister, brother, basically anyone who is not that toxic person. And if you think there are underlying triggers in the person's behaviour or your behaviour, which is why the relationship is toxic, then it may be worth getting some help, not only for yourself but for the other person's behaviour, because depending on the situation, especially if it's a romantic relationship, you know, you may have spent years with that person and things may have just suddenly changed, and you think they're being triggered by what they went through a year ago or a couple of months ago, and you actually want to work on it. If that's the case, then getting help for them will be very beneficial. And you can also get some help for yourself. Maybe you could try working together and getting some therapy or some medication if that's the route that you choose to go down. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I hope my video has been helpful in some kind of way, or it's inspired some kind of discussion. Feel free to leave your comments in the comment box below, and I will see you in my next video.